Hi everyone, welcome to UTV Gooner and our show, The Shooting Lone Star with Ram from the Austin Gooners. Hi bro, how are you?
Doing good, man. It's been a hell of a week. Like to start off by saying, um, like here at the Austin Gooners, we gather at a pub called the Tavern here in Austin, and I think when it first started out, maybe like it was a small group, right? 10, 15, 20 people max, maybe over 10 years ago, right? For the North Derby, man, for this Tottenham match on Sunday, we had um a record crowd of like 305 people at kickoff. Now that's give or take a few, like it was mostly just like a head count. Um, but 305 people at 10:30 in the morning on a Sunday is a lot of people, man. And I took some video and we're walking around the restaurant just looking, and every single table, every single seat was taken. It was standing room only. So it's been incredible to see. Of course, a lot of it may have to do with like, the sport is growing in this country. Arsenal's like the hot team right now, so I'm pretty sure there's a lot of bandwagon fans, but even then it's really cool. So yeah, things are going good here in the city, man. It's great to see the enthusiasm for the sport like pick up in real time. Um, because and especially because it's the Arsenal. So it's been good, man. Looking forward to another big time Sunday that coming up.
That's amazing, bro. That's a big amount of people. Big up to all the Austin Gooners there.
Yeah.
And what a great performance we put on and when it was. Outstanding, bro. To go away to our local rivals, hostile atmosphere there. We've not won there since 2014. The way we started that game and dominated that first half, it was just so good to see the level we're at now. We're so confident, the maturity in the team. We just went there and overrun them. They couldn't touch us. We are just so good. Got our goals, comfortably winning at halftime, 2-0 up. Second half was a bit more difficult. We knew they're going to come at us. They're at home. Obviously, they want to try and get into the game, but we done what we needed to do. Defended really well, held on to our leads. Some great saves from Ramsdale, and just the perfect day, bro. 2-0. First time, as I was saying, since 2014, we beat them there, and we did the double on them this season. Amazing, bro.
Yeah, yeah, everything you said is just spot on. I, from the end of last week, I was very nervous. I've been nervous for a lot of these games that, again, they beat us down 3-0 and started our slide last year. So I was nervous going into it because I'm like, well, like this is one of those really, really tough games. But what I'm starting to see with this team, and I've heard this term being used recently by one of my favorite journalists, Amy Lawrence. I don't know if you're familiar with her, but like I love reading her articles and stuff like that. But this kind of quote unquote siege mentality that we're maybe seeing with this Arsenal squad, like kind of like a us versus the world type of approach. Like, and she wasn't saying that it's very obvious, or it's not necessarily what Arteta's saying in the press or what the players are saying, but she was almost like saying like you almost have to wonder if that's what's going on within the dressing room. Like more of just like this team is so close, they're having such a good they have such good chemistry together, and they're having so much fun, and you can just tell by like the little things, like the celebration when Saka got the own goal, with the little with the shooting with him and Odegaard, like um when Odegaard scored the goal, just the way that they're celebrating. Martinelli was out there catching balls with his back, reaching out and trying shaking Richarlison's hand and getting left hanging, and just you could tell like he was just like the shit house was there. And at the end of the game, Aaron Ramsdale kissing the badge, riling up the Tottenham fans. Um, Martinelli at the end, tossing up the scarf and it landing on the spider cam. Um, yeah, everything I'm talking about is actually not even necessarily actually game stuff, but like it was, yeah. Again, all this is kind of showing me, or all of that to say, like this team is really, if there was pressure going into that game, they did not show it. They came out just absolutely dominating. And the second half was a little bit nerve wracking. It was a little scary, but as you said, we knew that Tottenham was going to come back and put up a fight, right? Because that's sort of been their thing all season. They come out, fall behind, not necessarily on purpose. They're just not very good defensively. But then they do have some solid attacking pieces, and they really showed out. But you know what? Like just despite the fact that we jumped up 2-0, it was very appropriate to see Aaron Ramsdale win man of the match because I thought he had the game of his life. I mean, he had some incredible saves because they did break us down a little bit and had some easy. I thought it would be easy goals. There was one Harry Kane shot that I was like, any other day that's going in, but not today. Like Aaron Ramsdale was just on something else. Um, and for me, like very appropriate that he was man of the match. But everybody put in a good shift, man. Like Thomas Partey was again just crucial. Like he's just one that unsung hero, and I think he's one of our most important players. But I mean, you could probably pull up a highlight for every single player that played, uh, and everybody did something well to contribute. It's just we're looking like a well-oiled machine right now, and it's just incredible to watch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, bro, it's so good to see. Like I'm saying, you can see the way the team's progressed, the maturity in the team. It's just so good to see the way we're able to go to these grounds this season. The likes of Crystal Palace, Brentford, just gone to these grounds and done so well, just shut the other team down, limited their chances, dominated. We saw it also against Brighton, another team that are very good at home, and how well we played there. Right, they did get a couple of goals, but we've seen how strong they are. They just beat Liverpool the other day 3-0. So it's outstanding. It's so good to see, man. It's been just an amazing week. And then the news out today talking of Brighton, we've signed the player from them. Very good player, got a good deal. Didn't have to spend too much money. Very versatile player. It's going to be really important for the squad depth. He's able to play across different positions. Premier League proven as well. Big news today, bro. Wrapped up the deal for Trossard. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, like I really love that Brighton team in a sense that like I love the way they play football and they're just a really difficult team to go against and they're a really fun team to watch, right? If I were neutral, like, I'm tuning in to watch them every week because they're fun as well. They play a very similar style. Um, and Trossard is a very is he's Premier League proven, right? So he's gone against all the big clubs. He scored against us last year, and then followed that up with a goal against Tottenham. He's had a hat trick against Liverpool this year. Um, yeah, I think he's the perfect addition to what we needed. Now, given all the hype that went with Mudryk and all like how drawn out that was, the first instinct I think was to feel a little bit underwhelmed because it's like, well, it's not the big splash signing, but what it was a very practical signing. It's a very like it's yeah, it's a practical signing. It's somebody that we can put into the squad right away, and I think it means um that we're going to see good rotation for our front guys, right? Namely, like he plays both left wing and right wing, mostly left. So that means we're going to potentially see Martinelli and Saka get some real rest now, which I think is what we've been wanting because we've all remarked and we've all noticed as a fan base how many minutes they've been getting on their legs, and you know when we saw them start, in the starting lineup against Oxford United, we are all just like, oh my god, like what's going on? And I don't think that was necessarily a signal to the board or anything like that. I just think you know Arteta didn't feel confident in putting anybody up there. So I think someone like him is as he said, just he's going to have an immediate impact. He's going to be able to rest those guys, and he's not going to need to adjust. He's already gone against some of the top tier competition, so he knows what it's going to take. He may not necessarily have experience in terms of like championship winning experience, but he has that experience of just saying like he knows this league, and so it's not it's I think it's just going to be the perfect piece. Again, it's not the splash signing that we were all hoping for, um, but even then, that was going to be sort of a long shot anyway. And of course, it doesn't happen, but I think Trossard is going to be the perfect addition to the squad. I don't know if he's. I don't think he. Who knows? The jury's still out if he's going to be like some amazing addition, but he doesn't need to be. He just needs to come in and play his role, and I think he's going to do that.
Yeah, bro, great signing. Think it's amazing value for money as well. That Woodrick deal, the amount of money they're asking for, I think that's just way too much for a player who's not proven. So here we've got a player that is proven in the Premier League, and it's going to be easy for him to fit into our team, knowing the Premier League and how it is. So, great signing, and we've been strongly linked today as well with a defender. I don't know much about him. He's in Italy, Spezia.
Yeah. So his name is Jacob Kiwior. I'm probably just destroying it. We'll learn how to say it. It might be like Jakub. But yeah, he plays for Spezia. They're like a mid-table club in Serie A. He's Polish. He's a center back. He's like 6'2". But I think what really at least excites me a little bit is that he also plays defensive midfielder. Mostly a center back, right? But what I'm starting to see with with Arteta and his transfer strategy is we like to get players that can play multiple positions. I mean, you see that with, I mean, even with Gabriel Jesus, right? Like, I mean, he plays primarily up top, but he can play both wingers. You see that with Fabio, like, is kind of all across the board as well. Um, Not necessarily with someone like Thomas Partey or like Odegaard, right? Like those spots are where they are, but Ben White can play center back and right back as we've learned. Zinchenko primarily as that left back, but when he plays for Ukraine, he's right there as a defensive midfielder as well. Um, and there's even been talk of like putting Ben White in the defensive midfielder spot as well. So this is like just yet another guy who can play at every position as well. And my fault, I even forgot about Tomiyasu. Tomiyasu can play center back for Japan, and he's right back for us. So I have a little theory where, I know a lot of people want us to sign like a Thomas Partey backup, like somebody who's going to eventually take over. And I feel like that's a very, very difficult thing to do, especially in January, right? Like I feel like even when we did bring him in, it took him a long time to get settled into the role he is in right now. Like if you think about the beginning of his tenure, there's an interview that sticks out of my head where somebody from BBC Sport or whatever, or Sky Sports was interviewing him, asked him, "Hey, how do you feel about like your performances so far?" And he was like, "I would say like a 4 out of 10." And the interviewer was like surprised, like, "Wow, that's kind of harsh." Like, and he was like, "Yeah, like I'm pretty harsh on myself." So it's taken him a while to get settled into the role. So it's not like we can just find anybody and sign him and put him in as a backup and then expect him to do the same things Thomas can do, and then at the same time to find somebody at that level of quality and expect them to just be a backup. You know what I mean? So because as long as Thomas is healthy, he's out there and they're starting 11. So the little theory I've built up in my brain is, long term, yes, I'm sure we want to sign a defensive midfielder, but I think that's going to happen like maybe in the summer. Maybe we're developing some of the guys we have right now, but I think by signing this center back, I think that gives us just further cover. Let's say worst case scenario happens and Thomas gets injured, and we gotta, put somebody else in to replace him. We have options like Zinchenko, Ben White, and if that's the case, well then we can just plug in this new kid. We'll call him Jacob for now, um, to kind of play center back or and push everybody out and rotate pieces, or he can be the one to kind of maybe get some of those minutes as well. So um, it's not a splash signing, but you read about, the more I read about him, it's like, oh, like this guy is going to be very useful, and I can understand. At this point, I'm not doubting anybody that Edu and Arteta target and sign, because I'm like, they're going to figure out how to use them. Um, Even the ones that you would say flop are flopping, like maybe somebody like Sambi Lokonga. I almost feel like, I've said this before, but it's not as if Arteta hasn't put it in positions to succeed. I think it's come down to the player not taking advantage of those opportunities. So, um, yeah, I think we're pretty much strongly linked. I think eventually the signing is going to happen. There's not necessarily any competition for him, so I think it's going to happen, and I'm pretty excited to see what we do to kind of get him into the team. Um, I always said, one player would be great, two would be amazing, three would just be a dream. So I'm already happy with the way the transfer window has finished or has gone. So let's see if we pull in somebody else in the next day or so, and or next day or so, like the next, what, 11 days. Yeah, we'll see what happens, man. But for now, I'm giving us like a B plus on our transfer window, man. Only because I really kind of wanted to see this Mudryk guy come in, but it is what it is. Fuck Chelsea.
Uh, as I say, Mudryk, he's not proven, and we don't know how he would settle into the Premier League. So
Right.
it could turn out to be good that we've not got him. We'll find out in time how well he does at Chelsea. But I think when you look at the value for money we're getting with Trossard, uh, as we're saying, it's play that we know is proven in the Premier League. We're to come straight into the team and do a good job. So that's a great signing. With a defender. I don't know much about him. You're saying he can play also in the centre defensive midfield position. So that's a great thing to have, that versatility. And we know there's a lot of games coming up.
Yeah.
Europa League will be back on soon as well. So having as many great options as possible will really be a great thing for us going forwards. Now, bro, got to talk about the title race, the whole picture of that. So let's track back to last weekend, first of all. Before our game on the Saturday, it was a Manchester derby. And in that one, we saw Man United beating Man City. And for me, I thought that goal for Man United was offside. I thought they got very lucky. Man City were dominating that game, really. But Man United did manage to get the win. So credit to them for getting that win there. And it was funny because I had a lot of my friends who are Man United fans telling me that look how well they're playing, they're coming for us, they're in the title race. And
Yeah.
I'll say
Sure,
this,
buddy.
yeah, watch what we do to you guys next week. I was like, okay, we'll see. I'm not worried about you guys. We're playing so well, not at all worried. As it turned out, their next game was the Crystal Palace game during the week, and they couldn't beat Crystal Palace. So what I say to them is worry about beating Crystal Palace before you think about trying to worry to beat us. But yeah, they couldn't get the win against Crystal Palace. That was a great free kick, by the way, from that Crystal Palace player. On top of that, their star midfielder, Charisma, got booked. So he's suspended from the game against us. So that's another great thing for us as well. Not that I was worried, even if he was playing, I was very confident we'll beat them. I believe we're levels above them. I know after World Cup break, they've come back and been winning a lot of games, but most of the games they've been playing, they weren't really playing difficult games, apart from that City one. So I was never too worried about them. And we got the chance now on Sunday. If we beat them, we'll go 11 points ahead of them. Plus, we'll have a game in hand. So that talk of them being in the title race, we can shut it down within 1 week. Like, 1 week later, they would have dropped 5 points and be out of the title race again. So I want to ask you first of all your thoughts on that Manchester derby, and before we talk about Man City, your thoughts on Man United and the situation with them.
Yeah. Yeah, that derby was really, really exciting. Second half was. First half, oh, early in the morning, it was like 6:30. So I tried my best to wake up, didn't succeed. I woke up with maybe about 20 minutes into the first half. Um, and it was whatever. Finally got up, and when I got to my senses, when the game actually started getting good, so that was cool. But yeah, very good competitive match. It was exciting. Um, as you, I really thought that City was dominating that match and really blew it for them. Yeah, I agree. The same thing. United, they got very lucky. Very generous call. So you think that doesn't happen? they might end up sharing the points, or they might have ended up losing the game because after that goal they really just the momentum, they just really took it and ran with it. Um, Garnacho had a really nice run and set up the second goal. I like that kid, by the way. He reminds me a wee tiny bit of like Martinelli type player, just kind of in there like a Tasmanian devil, just going in there and wreaking havoc. It's a little bit raw, not very big right now, but you can see where you can see what that United definitely sees something special in him. And yeah, credit to United for really fighting through, and they're one of the hottest teams right now in the Premier League, and I fear them a little bit more than I fear Tottenham going into this game. And City, like they just don't look like right now that they have the same killer instinct that they've been having the past few years, which bodes well for us because I still think ultimately City is going to be our main rival for chasing the title. You can see kind of United, and you can understand why there's excitement growing. But as you said, yes, that Palace game, like they really blew a chance, and to really do it. So now it's like we can really kind of put the nail on the coffin, at least for a while. Who knows what happens? There's still a lot of games to play, but we can really shut down all that talk and just be like, hey, chill out. Like you still got a lot of games to go. Let's chill out about talking about getting into a title race, and let's start beating good teams or whatever. Because yeah, they were building up their win against like Charlton and other teams that I don't even remember. So yeah, I mean, Crystal Palace, you would think like if they're going to be chasing the title, like they would win that match. And as I told my buddy from who's a United fan as well, like winning at Selhurst Park isn't for everybody. Like we did it, they couldn't do it, so there's still a gulf there. Hopefully, we show up the better team on Sunday. Um, and yeah, even just talking about that City and Tottenham match, City just destroyed Tottenham. It was beautiful to watch. I was hoping for a draw at best, um, but that was more likely what happened is what I was mostly expecting. So can't be too surprised or disappointed at that. It is what it is. But we're still going to be top of the league no matter what. So we just need to not rest on our laurels and just build on top of that. So yeah, it was a pretty eventful weekend or pretty eventful week in terms of like all these games going on. Very exciting, and yeah, we got and there's some big matches coming up this weekend too as well, right?
Yeah, for sure, bro. Big weekend coming up. Before we get into that, though, let's talk about Man City and their situation. So we saw they lost that Manchester derby. Strange comments from Pep after that game, talking about how they don't care about winning the Premier League, Carabao Cup, etc. But yeah, I don't know what was going on with him because he made some more strange comments after the game last night. So let's talk about that game last night next now. So that was a crazy one. I was actually working during that game, and someone at work said Tottenham 2-0 up. I thought, okay, it's interesting. Don't really want to be cheering on Tottenham to win, but if they could go there and get a result, it'll be doing us a favour. You're thinking at that point, they're 2-0 up, maybe we can at least get out with a draw. But Tottenham cannot trust them to hold on to a lead. 2-0, and they messed it up. Man City, next thing, I'm checking the score is 2-2, real quick, and then 3-2, and it ended up finishing 4-2. So Man City came back really well. It was a very important win for them. All that talk, Pep saying, oh, we're not bothered. They are bothered, obviously. He's just deflecting from the way they lost that Manchester derby. So taking the attention away from that with these comments he made. But they're very much in the title race. We know how strong a team they are. And they've got this situation now where they're going to have played twice before we play again because they're kicking off against Wolverhampton before we play against Man United. So they could close the gap right down to 2 points. We would have 2 games in hand, but it's 2 difficult games. As we know, it's Man United on the Sunday, and the other game in hand is Man City themselves here, the game that got postponed early this season. So as great a position we're in, it could be down to just 2 points come Sunday. So they're very much still strongly in the title race. We've seen they've been shaky this season in general, but we know how great a team they are, and they've won the title 4 out of the last 5 years. What's your thoughts on Man City, the game against Man United and Tottenham, and how they're looking at the moment?
Yeah, I never believed for 1 second that Pep was dismissing his chances for the Premier League. Yeah, like as you said, he's very good on the mind games, and that's his style. Like, and that's also another like big. A lot of people like to point out the similarities between Pep and Arteta, and kind of how they kind of feed off each other. And Arteta's or Pep's, always giving Arteta compliments and things like that. And of course, right, Arteta came from City and brings that same kind of intensity and that same focus and approach. But, I don't, you can never really imagine Arteta going out and saying something like that and trying to play mind games. You see him and people ask him questions and he's very professional and tight-lipped and almost robotic in a sense and a little bit boring in his responses sometimes when people try and get some juice out of him. Whereas Pep is maybe a little bit opposite and just he knows people read, he knows players and he knows like they're on social media and word gets out. Like it's also like a big thing in like American sports too. Like the coaches, a lot of times, they won't say the same thing in public that they will say in private. And they might say certain things in private to players and the team as a whole. And then the public, they might put something out there because they know it's going to get headlines to just necessarily maybe just divert the attention a little bit. So, or just, kind of motivate the players a little bit because you can't go into that dressing room and say the title's not ours or whatever. But you can go into the press and say that, and then all of a sudden you seeing these headlines. Pep doesn't believe City can win the title, and I'm pretty sure as a player you read that and you're like oh that's bullshit. Like no, we're gonna go out there and smash Tottenham or whatever. Whatever. Like, so I think that's just his way of being a coach. Um, it's worked so far, and you can see how they responded, even though they did give up the 2 goals. They went right into halftime and then just turned that shit around. That second half was just blazing. Like it was crazy how they just completely flipped the script on Tottenham. So, yeah, they go against Wolverhampton on Sunday. Wolves have been playing very, very a lot better than they had to start the season. I know they're still in like a relegation battle, and they're probably going to continue to be in that relegation battle just because they don't quite have the firepower. But they play real good defense from what I've seen. So might be a tough game for them. We'll see, but I don't know necessarily. I don't think necessarily Wolves can steal some points off of them. But if they could, that'd be wonderful, of course. But yeah, I think the most likely outcome of that one is going to be they're going to be 2 points behind us at the start of our game. So we'll see what happens. I think City is much too. I think quite the opposite of what Pep's saying. I think they're very much in the title run.
Yeah, for sure. We know they're right in there. Could we just be 2 points behind us? And there's still a long way to go. And team as strong as them can go on long runs of winning games. So yeah, it's gonna be a big weekend, big game for us this Sunday, bro. It's a game where we know they're gonna come test us. Man United, regardless of the situation, they're a good team. We've had a great rivalry with them over the years, and it's always a game that's great to watch. It's going to be exciting. I'm pretty sure they're going to go the same sort of tactics they did at Old Trafford, try and hit us on the counter attack. I think we've matured since that game we had against them at Old Trafford. We've learned from that game. We talked about it at the time, learning about mistakes we made in that game and just being a bit more solid. We were in the ascendancy, we were dominating the game. We just got caught out a couple of times, but I don't see that happening. We're at home. We know how strong we are at home. I see us completely destroying them. Even before the news about their midfielder Casemiro being suspended, I was very confident that we're going to beat them comfortably. What's your thoughts on the game?
Yeah. So Man United, big, big, big match. I don't even know where to begin. I feel a lot more confident than I did last week, but at the same time, I feel like I'm a lot more afraid than I was last week. So it's going to be a very I don't know how I'm going to be able to handle this match. I might not even go to the bar just because I'm going to be a nervous wreck. but then at the same time, it's probably better to go to the bar and hang out with people and just enjoy myself because yeah, this team is I think a look it's way better than they're playing way better than Tottenham is playing, for example. But at the same time, here we go again with this narrative that I'm building in my head, at least of a revenge tour type of thing, and this is a little bit more recent, obviously, right? Because we've played them already earlier this season. I think we played them off of the pitch, um, and just got really really unlucky to end up losing that game 3-1. So we're certainly walk away, or we've certainly walked away with some good lessons as in terms of like that match and what happened. We also didn't play with Thomas, so that's something that we got to take into consideration. Sure, United didn't have Casemiro in there, but they weren't playing very well themselves, and they were kind of still kind of getting back into it. So I don't know. Like I think we got we got to start quickly again, and I think we will start quickly. Um, I think what hurt us in that United game was, we weren't clinical. We were going through that. We were about to go into that stretch where we weren't very clinical and not scoring goals. Um, and United is just very good at that counterattack, right? Rashford has been playing out of his mind, and he's scary, and he can definitely hurt us. So I think we just need to, be on the front foot, attack, but then at the same time just be very disciplined and composed, and not let ourselves kind of like how I think the way Tottenham wants to play is how United is going to end up playing, right? Like I think United's going to end up sitting back, um, maybe giving us a good amount of possession because United did the same thing against City, right? Um, and then just kind of took over and got a little bit lucky here and there. But yeah, their counterattack is dangerous. So they might end up doing that. So we just gotta stay disciplined and not let ourselves get beat. I think with somebody like Thomas, I think he's gonna again step in and be very crucial. And he's gonna be our guy who's gonna just kind of hold it down on the defensive end. Um, so yeah, I don't know exactly. I don't even know where to go with in terms of like a score prediction, but I'll go ahead and say 2-1. I think it's going to be 1-1 for a little bit, and I just like it was the last game. But I think we turn it around this time, and you know, assert ourselves and put our foot down, let people know like, hey, this is our time to shine. Because I think we're going in there relatively healthy. I think we're going to be good to go. They're missing Jadon Sancho's injured, Diogo Dalot is out, Casemiro is out, like we know. So they're not going to be at full strength as they're not going to be as strong as we are. Um, but I think they're going to put up a good fight because again they're playing with a lot of confidence. So I got to give them that. They're right at the heels of City, right? So yeah, it's going to be a scary one, man. But I'm going to say 2-1, and I think we pull it out relatively comfortably, but it's going to be tight for a long time.
Oh, bro, as I say to you, man, I'm really confident, but I'm expecting us to thrash them. Actually, I'm going for 3-0. I just,
Okay, shit.
bro, I think we're gonna just destroy them. I think that we're really gonna be up for it. Get revenge. They're the only team to beat us in the Premier League this season. We know how lucky they got in that one. Martinez's goal should never be ruled out. As you said, we were playing them off the park. In their ground, we were just so much better than them. Now they got to come here. We've been in great form here, as we know. I just cannot see them touching us. Going comfortable, bro. 3-0. They're going to shut down their title challenge and yeah, move on to the next one.
I want that to happen. Now, don't get me wrong. Yeah, I want nothing more than that to happen. That exact scenario you said, because I got a couple of United fans, and then they were starting to get chippy as well, like saying, "Hey, we're coming at you." And I was like again, I was like, "Yeah, let's wait till that Palace match, and then we'll talk at the end of the game on Sunday and see. I'm gonna ask you if you're still coming at us, win or lose." And so I'm gonna wait, but exactly that, man. I that's the best case scenario. I feel like I could be wrong. Like I feel like I have a hard time just kind of being confident that we're gonna smash teams. It's weird, man, because I've been looking. I went and looked back at like kind of all the games and try to remember exactly like how I was feeling at the time. And it's crazy how like very in the middle I've been with a lot of these matches, and then they've come out and just our boys have just come out and destroyed. So let's see what's up, man. I'm excited for it, and I'm hoping you're right and I'm wrong. you know,
Oh, you know what? A win either way, as long as we win,
yeah,
this is the number one priority. But yeah, bro, it's difficult to read any game, or how it's going to go. There's things that sometimes we saw that game against Man United, the first one, luck can sometimes go against us, So let's hope that luck doesn't come into it. There's no stupid referee decisions or from VAR, and then it's just about who's the better team. And we know we are the better team, and we should take care of business quite comfortably, hopefully. So, yeah, bro, let's hope we can get that done. Let's now, before we go, as usual, talk about some of the other key fixtures for this weekend and get your predictions. So, tomorrow's a big game between Liverpool and Chelsea. It's so nice to say two teams that don't concern us, miles behind us. That's 19 points to Liverpool, something similar to Chelsea. And yeah, it's just amazing that they're just so far away from us. Shows you how good we've been this season. And they are playing tomorrow in the early kickoff, lunchtime kickoff. What's your thoughts on that one?
yeah. And speaking of current form, before I get into that one, like a lot of people are really liking to point out like how in form Manchester United are, but so are we. So that's why I always like to tell like, hey man, like I know United is like coming up the ranks and they're starting to look good, but hey, we've been top of the league the whole time and we're still good, right? Like so it's not like we're faltering. We've been looking good still.
Yeah, bro,
So
one quick thing while you was mentioning that, I was speaking to a couple of people who are telling me, were trying to say that if you look at this season, Liverpool and Man City have not been so strong, and that's why we're like in the position we are. But I said, no, you're wrong because we've only dropped 7 points this season. It's an amazing start just to drop 7 points
yeah,
this many games in now. Like, even if Man City and Liverpool are having good seasons as they did in the past, we would still be right up there at the top. So yeah, that whole thing about people, I think they're not appreciating just how good we are and how good we have been this season.
exactly, man. But like a couple teams that haven't been good this year, right? Liverpool and Chelsea. Um I want to see I'm going to wake up for this one with really some huge interest because I want to see what Chelsea does. I want to see if Mudryk gets put in there. Um, yeah, that's Chelsea is making a lot of splashes everywhere else but the pitch, right? Like they're getting all these guys, and you can only put 11 on the field. Um, Liverpool is just playing terrible, right? Like they're not like they're just bad. Um, Chelsea got lucky enough to win this past a week or whatever. So I think this is going to be a do or die match I mean, it's a do or die match for both teams, right? There's like what ninth and 10th in the league. If they win, they kind of move up to like seventh or something like that. Maybe start building a little bit of momentum, but the loser is going to be really licking their wounds and asking questions and seeing like what exactly is the rest of the season going to look like. Um, Gosh, yeah, I'm going to be really excited for that one. I'm hoping for a draw ultimately. I'm hoping for an exciting match, but I hope they both drop points and stay ninth and 10th. Don't want to see any of those fans like feel good about themselves. So I want to see like a 1-1 draw. Because I think even as much as Chelsea has just been signing wingers and attackers, they're not scary enough, and their defense is very weak, and they're not addressing what they need to address. They're just copying Arsenal's homework in the transfer markets. So I hope they drop some points, and Liverpool. I hope they continue to drop points as well because just it's great to see those two squads just battle it out for Europa Conference. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. It's great to see them both struggling so much.
Yeah.
Okay, then tomorrow's evening game is between Crystal Palace and Newcastle. Thoughts on that one?
Oof. Yeah, that's gonna be a spicy one too. Palace difficult at home. Newcastle is another one of those teams that I feel has been getting a little bit of disrespect with this Manchester United title talk because Newcastle has been playing a lot better for a lot longer. And I think they're the scarier team overall. So yeah, this is going to be a big test, and also a big test for Crystal Palace as well. Listening to the interview post game with Zaha, saying like, we've been playing well as a team, but what we've struggled with is scoring goals, and so it's good for them to get that draw and get the goal. And Crystal Palace is another team. I think they're a very similar team to like Brighton. Play the big teams hard. They're not an easy pushover team, but for Palace, they just struggle scoring, and I think that's what has them like at 12th in the table. So um, I don't think they're gonna. I don't think they're gonna give. I think they're gonna upset Newcastle. I think they're feeling really good about themselves. The draw against United for them should feel like a win. So I think they keep that up, and I'm gonna root for a Crystal Palace win, 2-1. I think they double their goal output from the midweek game, and just Newcastle can't score either, right? So they're getting a lot of draws, but I think they suffer a setback this Sunday or Saturday, excuse me.
Okay, and then on the Sunday, before we play, as we were saying earlier, Man City are played against Wolverhampton. What's your thoughts on that
Yeah.
one?
Wolves, man. Yeah, I'll reiterate what I said a little bit earlier when I was ranting about City, but yeah, I think Wolves are playing a little bit better. They're looking a little bit more competitive and a little bit more organized. They're still 16th in the table with 17 points overall. Looking at their current form, let me pull that up real quick. Um, let me see fixture. They're getting a lot of draws lately. See draw. Yeah, so I know we'll see. I don't think they're gonna end up stealing any points from City, unfortunately. So I'm gonna say it's gonna be like 2-1, but City's gonna end up pulling out a win. As much as I don't want that to happen, I don't think Wolves is that scary enough or that dangerous enough to challenge City with for a win. But they're gonna make it hard. I'll say that much. So it'll be worth watching. But I think it's 2-1 at the end, with City prevailing.
Okay, yeah, it's going to be another big weekend, bro. Could be just 2 points ahead of him before we kick off against Man United. So
Yeah,
really important that we get this win. Massive match for us. And then next up is the FA Cup. We've got Man City in that. So exciting times, bro.
yeah. I'm looking forward to. I'm a little bit annoyed because I actually have to go into the office on Friday during the FA Cup game, so I'm gonna have to probably be watching on my phone or something like that. We're gonna do like a team meeting or whatever in person, but I'm kind of even still. I don't know how I feel about it. Like I really want us to put on a good show against City, but on the flip side of the coin, if we end up losing out on the FA Cup, my heart's not going to be entirely broken. I want us 100% focused on the league, maybe even a little bit of Europa League action. Um, but the FA Cup, it'd be nice to go far again. Like that's Arsenal's the FA Cup team 14 titles. Be nice to get a 15th, but at the same time, I want our boys completely focused on a title charge. So, like I said, yes, I want to see us look good against City, but I wouldn't be sad if we ended up losing. But first things first, Manchester United on Sunday. Let's fucking defend the fortress that Emirates has become, and I hope your prediction is more correct than mine, and we beat these guys off the pitch and show them that no, incorrect. You guys are not in the title run. Sit the fuck down. Come on, Arsenal. So
Yeah, bro. Come on, boys. We got this. So yeah, that's all from us. Thanks, bro.
my pleasure. We'll talk to you on the WhatsApp. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, bro. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please remember to subscribe, like, and share.